are listening to LOA Recon with the Good Vibe coach Jeanette Ma, where we dissect the ins and outs and the art and science of conscious creation, all intended to amp up your manifesting game. Let's have some fun together. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I was thinking about something that I thought might be good to share here, and that was how often I get hired by a client who's having trouble seeing how their desire is going to come together. And they'll say something along the lines of, sometimes it'll be like, I don't see how I can lose this weight in an easy, enjoyable, effortless way. Or I don't see how I can manifest the money that I need in time. Or I don't see how this relationship can be saved. Or, sometimes it breaks my heart when they'll say something like, I don't see how someone I'm interested in would be interested in me. Or sometimes they just are questioning, manifesting principles in general. I don't see how relaxing about this is going to help resolve it, or something along those lines. And I just want to say, for any time someone might be entertaining the thought, I don't see how things are going to work out or things are going to come together for them, there's fabulous news. You don't have to see how. You're not supposed to see how. All we need to see is what. Our job isn't how things come together. Our job is to focus on what. It's to plug into the end result of what we want. That's where the magic begins. That's where our power is. We aren't supposed to see how. So don't let that stop you. In fact, I think it's way better when we don't have an idea of how it's going to come together. Often that makes us more open. That's true anyway for people who don't think they're supposed to know how. If you think you're supposed to know how and you don't know how, that shuts the whole party down. But if you know you're not supposed to know how, it's a beautiful thing when you don't know, because it makes us more open. Sometimes we might have an idea of how we think something's going to unfold, and maybe that can be helpful for amplifying our belief or positive expectation. But you know what happens a lot of times, at least for me, when I think I know how it's going to happen and I'm watching it, it happens some totally different way, and I know it's because I got just enough of a charge on it that I'm just repelling it slightly, that the path of least resistance is a total different way. And you know what the cool thing is about this? Is that whether you call it universe or higher power or source or your whatever, the powers that be that are organizing things, they got a lot of ways that it can happen. There isn't just one way. So you don't have to worry that if you miss your cue there isn't one way. There's so many different ways that are enjoyable and fun and fabulous and amazing. So it's got it's like a redundant system. Ooh, you know what I love? I love this quote from Brigitte, who just published Unmute Your Life. She has a quote that I love so much, I put it on the GVU Facebook page, that said, "The universe has the best logistics department ever." I love remembering that. That's such a beautiful way to put it, that it is way better resourced. It knows all the players. It's got all the best timing. It knows how to give the best cues to get everyone in the right place at the right time. It's so much better at it than you are. So much better at it. It's the best logistics department ever. It is smart to turn things over to this logistics department. Don't try to do this yourself. It won't be nearly as magic or fun. So that's worth remembering, that it isn't our job to see how. So when someone says, I don't see how, I'm like, cool. You're not supposed to. What you're supposed to do is see what. That's your job. That's what you want to focus on. It's the what part of things. And we don't even really need to see what. We just need to be able to feel what we want. So even if we don't know the details of what it looks like exactly, if we can just feel what it feels like, that's what our job is, the end result. Seeing it, feeling it, or if you can hear the sounds of success of it, that's what you want to plug into. In fact, I probably have an example of this. This was a cool one. Yeah, years and years and years ago, I used to regularly lead groups of, like a couple dozen people. We'd get together for a month or so, manifesting different things. And I was used to doing that. It was fun. It was cool. And then one day I got an inspiration to do it differently. I got an inspiration to lead a larger group. And, and the inspiration was not to charge a specific amount for it. The inspiration was to do it as a pay what you want. Like, let people in for whatever they had available. And here's why. Oh, that's right. It was on manifesting money. And I was thinking that the people who would most benefit from this are least likely to be able to pay what I normally charge for a group gig like this. So, because, I was charging like a couple $100. And I just had this weird inspiration to let everyone decide what they were going to pay their own selves. And I didn't look. I mean, I was in business for money. Yes, I love what I do, but I also needed to make a living. So it's not like I had bills to pay. It's not like I could do something for total free and it would be fine. I have to get paid just like everyone else who's making a living. So I didn't know how that was going to work when you invite everyone in for basically free. You let them decide what they're going to pay. And how am I still going to get paid? I didn't need to worry about that because all I needed to focus on was the what. And this is an instruction I am really good at. Some of you have heard me talk about this before, where I don't always know how I'm getting paid, but I know for sure that I am getting paid. That part's not up for debate. I'm getting paid. And universe can coordinate who and when and all the rest of the details about it. I'm not concerned about that because I know for sure I'm getting paid. That much is not up for debate. But the rest of it, I'll leave it to the best logistics department ever. Brigitte, I love that. So I just rolled with this inspiration for this different structure, this different format of a group offering, including this is where you could send money if you want to. And guess what happened? I, first of all, worked with more people than I ever have in a group before, so much so I needed to coach myself. I started to get a little intimidated about how many people were showing up for that. And I made more money than I've ever made in a group offering ever. I gotta say, universe, I like your style. So that was one example of how well it can work together or it can come together when I stop micromanaging it, when I stop saying, okay, this number of people paying this amount of money puts this much in my bank account. Instead of going with that routine, I just relaxed about how it was going to unfold and let universe make it even better. That was super cool. But I got a more recent one where, so I had a situation. This might sound ridiculous to you, but I had bought it was a new to me truck, and I needed to get it, licensed, registered, whatever all that stuff is. And I didn't have Joy for that. So a friend of mine went to go do it for me. He drove down to the DMV to go, but also tricky is that I didn't have a title because I'd bought it from someone and the bank actually owned it. So the bank needed to send me the title after I completed the transaction. Truck's fully paid for, but I got no title. The bank said they'd send the title. I was like, okay. So in the meantime, my friend's rolling down to do some paperwork and got no title for it. And while he was down there, he learns that he couldn't put it in my name because I wasn't there, so he put it in his name. So he came back, and he was laughing about it. He thought it was kind of funny that I bought this truck that's in his name now. Okay, it wasn't in this there's no title, but it was registered to him. And, also, there were a bunch of rules about what you got to do in order to finish this transaction. You got a certain amount of time, and you got to fill out these forms, yada, this, that, and the other. So far, this wasn't my most favorite thing. And time passes and still no title. I'm supposed to go take the title down to DMV when it gets here. No title. And I the clock's ticking on this. They're like, if you missed the window for providing us the title, this transaction is basically voided. It will be as if it never happened. And you don't get any of your fees that you paid back. And hello, I paid taxes. That was expensive. So I'm watching the clock like I got to get a title here pretty soon. Not only do I need to get a title here pretty soon, I need to get it in time for me. It was a headache. No one liked it. And in the meantime, I'm hassling the bank for the title. I think hassling is probably an appropriate description of what I was doing, because my vibration was that I needed something that I did not have, and they needed to give it to me. And so some of you might have felt like you've heard this story before. I was just like, I have told this story before. I did. I told it in podcasts that I did not publish at LOA Recon. I only published them over at Good Vibe University this month. I had a handful of episodes that I just published there. So those of you who are GVU members might know this story already, but the rest of you will not have heard it. So anyway, yeah, my vibration is not allowing a title through, and the bank's like, no idea, can't even explain why it shouldn't take this long, this, that, and the other. They're apologetic, they're nice, but still no freaking title. So finally, and I missed the window. I missed the window by so much. I missed the window and then some. Forget about it. The only time I'm now driving illegally. So I didn't want to drive it that much because I didn't want to have to be explaining to an officer. Because you know what the bank said? Just tell them coronavirus. They'll understand. I'm like, really? You think DMV is going to understand if I say coronavirus is slowing everything up? You think a police officer is going to like that? Well, that's exactly what I was practicing in my head, and I didn't want to have that conversation. So in the meantime, here I am not driving my brand new to me truck. Okay, so of course no title can show up because I'm irritated. You could hear it in my vibration. Then, I figure, you know what? I'm just going to have to do the lost title process. There's a paperwork for it. You got to do it. I didn't want to do that though, because it takes a long time, but I'm like, well, it can't take any longer than this is already taken. But I finally realized that's probably what I'm going to have to do because this is ridiculous. So the good news is that when I thought about just taking this alternative path, that I felt some relief about it. Like I could stop sweating it with the bank because I wouldn't need them anymore. I would just go this other route. And I had just enough relief in that thought that the bank emailed and said, hey, good news, we found your title. There was some error. They didn't know. They didn't explain what it was, but they said, we're FedExing it to you. I'm like, yay and hallelujah. I mean, I'm still way past deadline, but better late than never. Except it didn't come. It still didn't come. Didn't come. Like a week and a half later, still didn't come. It was because, I was going to say vacations and holidays, but no, that's what the bank said, but we know it was still my vibration. Finally, stupid title, I go pick it up, and that's how I felt about it. My whole vibration around this stupid everything. Stupid registered to the stupid guy that isn't even, I didn't like any of it. All right, so now I got to go down and wrap up this transaction. And going to DMV under good circumstances is no fun. Going under these circumstances is even less fun because it is a pandemic where you've got to make an appointment. First of all, it's a drive for me. I'm up in the mountains. I got to drive clear down to the city, and you got to make an appointment, and you got to wear your mask and social distance. I don't even like to leave the house. And here I got to leave the house to go to DMV. It was joyless. Oh, and to top it off, way down there, I roll into town. Construction everywhere. It's construction down the canyon, construction in town. And it turns out the building that I need to go to is also under construction. It's totally blocked off. The parking lot's even blocked off. I'm like, I'm probably going to have to park blocks away. I don't even know. This was my vibe. Okay, so this didn't look like it had a happy ending by any means. Oh, and then I find a place to park. It was the same place everyone else was parking. It's hard. It didn't seem like there were any empty slots, but I did get one right in front. Because, so I did recognize while I'm driving down, I was like, girl, get your vibration straight or this is going to be terrible. Your vibration, add DMV equals nightmare. So I was like, get it straight, girl. Practice what you want. Maybe practice a little. And what I wanted was, I wanted relief, I wanted handled, and I wanted it to be fun. Not just that it's taken care of. I didn't want it to be a headache. I wanted it to be delightful. So I practiced relief and delight and handled. And I didn't get much time in on that because, it was just finding my way there. I'd never been to this one before. Construction on the way. Oh, afraid I was going to be late. And they said, if you're late, forget about it. And then I roll up and it's not even here. Got to park somewhere else. So I didn't get a ton of time in my relief and delight vibration, but enough that when I pulled into this parking lot And I was like, oh, this is apparently where everyone is parking. There were no parking places. Someone pulled out right there, right up front. So I got to park right in front where I could see a ginormous line of people who were masked up in the hot sun, 6 feet apart. It looked like a nightmare. I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good. And that's a long line. I'm already like, oh, I think I got there 2 minutes to my appointment time. 2 minutes. I was like, you better hurry. I forgot to tell you how the instructions said that I needed to print out forms and have them filled out when I got there. I didn't have any joy for printing out forms at home. I didn't. So I didn't have any forms. I thought, I'll just get them when I'm there. So I didn't have any forms. All I had was my title and my phone that said, you need this code to scan when you get there. So I stood in line for the girl who's scanning. They got some poor girl sitting at the table in the hot sun, scanning phones for everyone's appointment. And I go to get in the line, and someone over by the entrance is waving. It looks like she's looking at me. I think she's looking at me when she waves. So I walk over there. So does one other guy. And the guy in front of me, he got there first, and he had the easiest thing ever. That guy had his forms, first of all. He had his forms right there in his hand, and he was asking a super easy thing, and mine was hard. His was easy, and she turned him away. She told him, yeah, not going to happen. Not here, not today, not now. She basically told him to go get in his car and go drive somewhere else. And I heard that, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. And then she looked at me, and I had no forms to give her. All I had was my title, but I handed my phone over to scan under the thing. Scanner's broken. So she said, yeah, that's broken. And she asked me my name, and I told her, and she said, okay, go in. You're number 565. She was sending me in. Everyone out here is still in line, but she told me to go in. So I went in, expecting to see a variety of things. I thought there would be a bunch of people. Like, how are we going to social distance? Good luck. And also, I was looking for forms. And I walked in, and the place was basically empty. It had a ton of chairs. They were all empty. Had a bunch of DMV workers at their windows open. There must have been like 7 available, and only 2 people were standing at windows. And I'm like, whoa, I'm going to need some forms. I look around. There's no forms nowhere. I look up at the electric thing, and it says it's serving 562. I'm 565. That's going to be fast. Wow. I sit down, and I'm trying not to let Gremlin 1, it was practicing before. It had been practicing how to explain how this is in the wrong name, and it's got to be in my name, and I don't have any of the right forms. And yes, I know I'm way past the deadline, but please don't make me pay the taxes again. I was trying not to practice that because instead I was doing relief and delight. So I had maybe 45 seconds to practice relief and delight again. I practiced it as I was rolling up, but I did it again right there. So far, it was looking like, well, you might be onto something here, girl. So, someone walks away. That girl calls 565. I walk over to a nice, friendly young lady, and I could tell she was friendly, even with masks on. I could tell she was friendly. And she asked me a question, and I did not know the answer. I didn't even understand her question. I just said, I got a truck, I got to register. And I handed her the title, and she asked me another thing, and I said, I don't know. I said, my boyfriend, and then I corrected myself. I said, my ex-boyfriend came down to do this for me, but he didn't have the title. So I got the title now, and she didn't say, I thought she was going to say, well, you need the forms. She didn't say anything. And she also didn't say, too bad for you, you're like 2 months late on this. She didn't say that either. She said, your ex-boyfriend, do you want me to take his name off? And I said, yes, please. Like, I thought that was supposed to be this other big hassle. She just said, you want me to take his name off? Yeah, I'll roll with it. Yes. And she said, well, I kind of figured when you said X. And we both got a nice giggle out of it. And she said, do you still want arches? And I didn't know what that question meant either. And I was like, art? Do I want art? And I realized, oh, she means the license plate. No, I don't want the arches. I live at the bottom of a ski resort. Give me the skier, please. And she said, okay. And she turns behind her and she starts flipping through license plates. This girl is acting like she wants to give me a license plate. And she, sure enough, pulls one out and she puts some tags on it. And she took the title from me and she handed me the license plate and she said, have a nice day. Oh, she told me to have a nice day. And I thought it was a trick. I was like, where? I don't know where I'm supposed to go next. What form? What line? What building? What? I didn't say any of that. I just stood there with a confused look on my face. And then I realized I have what I needed. I have the license plate. I have the tags. Go. So I started walking out the door. And I was like, this can't be right. This is exactly what I needed. I walked out of there with relief and delight. How do you like that? It was so fun. It was actually fun because we were making a little joke about how in the span of, I could have a boyfriend at the beginning of this transaction and not at the end of it. We were both laughing about it. Still laughing about it. Yeah, we don't need to know how it's going to work out. All we need to do is practice what we want. Isn't it a beautiful thing? This system is amazing and so fun to work with. I hope you're having fun with it too. I'd love to hear how you're having fun with it. I hate that these podcasts are just me talking to you. Drop me an email. Let me know how you're having fun with your manifesting practices. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next one.